The place represents history over the past 200 plus years. The furnace originated in 1791. That was the beginnings of the furnace, and it operated up until 1898. And during that time, it was a major iron producer in the Southern Berks area, one of many iron furnaces in the area. In 1800s, the Southern Berks, northern Chester County areas were essentially the major iron producing areas in the country. So it was part of a major industrial area. In the beginning, the manufacturing consisted of anything that would have been made out of iron: kettles, pots, pans, grates, window weights, tools, that sort of thing. The Cadillac product of the furnace was something called a 10-plate stove. Essentially, it was a standalone iron stove which was connected to the fireplace flue. The fireplaces back in those days were bricked off, and this would sit in the room. And at that point, the women of the home could cook on the stove, they could bake in the stove, and at the same time, for the first time, they were able to have a warm kitchen or a warm room wherever the stove was located. Up until that point, people used open fireplaces, which drew in as much cold air from the outside as the chimney took the air, the hot air up the flue. So this stove actually got hot, being cast iron, and it actually heated the air. So this was a brand new concept for people back in those days.
They're a volunteer organization, and they put on a couple of different festivals every year. This is the Fall Festival. It's always held the weekend after Labor Day. It's a 3-day event. They try to stress the era of the 1820s, including up until the Civil War. They have Civil War reenactors here.
I am doing a living history presentation for the Civil War. I represent a infantry regiment from North Carolina, from the Confederate States of America, 22nd North Carolina Infantry.
All these people here are volunteers at the stand.
We're making kettle soup here. We got vegetable over here, some corn noodle over there, and ham and bean in that kettle over there cooking up.
They sell all kinds of foods that are, they try to keep within that time frame of the 1800s.
This stand, this maple soup, Mabel Spar was my great-grandmother. I have to go back there a while. I remember helping her make this soup back in the day when I was a wee young lad, and I've been coming out and helping ever since.
It's all good food. People do dress up in the era of the 18, 20, 30, 40s. You know, they do this to raise money to keep this property going with authentic buildings that were here, that were in disrepair. And they've been, over the last 41 years, they've been doing that. It's 4 miles north of the Turnpike on Route 10 in Berks County. We get volunteers from all over the county and even other counties, people that are interested in volunteering.
Tell me your name and what you're doing here.
Rich Miller from up in Evansville, PA, and I have a hit-and-miss exhibit with chainsaws and other saw cutting equipment. As I say, I can listen to them and I can fall asleep. I think it's just a steady putt, putt, putt that you hear. It's how we did it 100 years ago, or how our ancestors did it. And we try to keep it alive by showing them at different shows. The drag saw behind me is probably the most unusual thing I have here. but there's some old chainsaws also here, and a 10-foot two-man saw, which is rather strange, and the old Sears and Roebuck hit and miss engine.
So how does this fit in with Hay Creek?
Well, Hay Creek closed up around 1900, I think, and these hit and miss engines are just coming out in 1900, and the hand saws are back 1850, 1840, which kind of fit in with the Hay Creek theme with the sawmill.